Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F125 career mode where we kick things off with a secret meeting with Ferrari. I hope you're all having a great day and I would love to hear your feedback on this. We have a meeting with Ferrari who are exploring options, and what makes me wonder if Lewis Hamilton could be contemplating retirement following this season. I, for the first time, have decided to continue talks with Ferrari, and these are my reasons why. Reason number one, Sport didn't make the jumps forward that I had hoped they would make over the regular season, I'm thinking NASCAR, over the off season, as well as with the regulation changes. So it just, kind of is a bit of a letdown as well. Keep in mind, our team owner passed away, of course, going into the season finale in Abu Dhabi last season. There is some rumors of potential offers to buy the team over, which could, of course, create implications there. So that's something I've got very, very little news on so far, but I feel like there's some things we just have to be aware of, and we have to consider our options. And Ferrari, I mean, it's a dream team for a lot of drivers that make their way into Formula One, and it's a dream of mine, and not necessarily because I'm a Ferrari fan. I really don't care about Ferrari, to be completely honest with you. I'm not really, a lot of Formula One fans are like fans of teams or brands or whatever, and I've never been able to get into the mindset of like supporting a team. I don't know, it just always felt weird to me. I support drivers, not teams. But I would like to do what my favorite driver couldn't do. Sebastian Vettel going to Ferrari was close many times, but could never finish off a season and pull together a title with Ferrari. And I would love to try and go there and make that happen in his place. But, I mean, who knows, right? This is very early in the season. We'll have to wait and see how things play out. But right now, the focus is still with Sport and continuing this weird season that we've had. Just 3 races in, we've had several drivers, several teams that have been very competitive. Of course, Lando Norris, of course, picked up the win last episode. Very strong performance there. Oscar Piastri was looking good until he wrecked himself out. Leclerc spun himself sideways. It was a crazy Japanese Grand Prix. Now we head to the Middle East here from Bahrain under the lights Saturday night for some qualifying. Of course, the Grand Prix will be Sunday night, or actually I think the Grand Prix now is Saturday nights in Bahrain. So I guess we're Friday night qualifying here from Bahrain. And of course, the main issue in 2 of the first 3 races were qualifying pace in this Sport car. Now we finally showed up in Suzuka and we put together a very competitive qualifying effort for the team. Now here's one of the positives is that it's been a team-wide situation. We have been qualifying very similar to our teammate of Aiden Jackson, so it's not like one of us has been way better than the other in qualifying. Last episode we were pretty similar again as well, even when we both finally found some more pace. Now unfortunately, it's looking like the first 2 races again where we don't have the speed in qualifying. We come to the line and Jackson is not in a good spot, and I only go P15, which means I need to run a second lap. Franco Colapinto currently out as well here. He is the first one out in P17, and as we come to the end of our second attempt, we're down to P16 with the final spot through. We found 2.5, nearly 3/10 of a second to the line. That should be enough. Only P15 with a near 3/10 second gain, and it's not enough. We're out again in Q1, myself and Jackson 19th and 20th, while Colapinto, an embarrassment as well, down in 21st. But you have to wonder what in the world's going on with our qualifying pace.
We're here again then at a circuit famous for its stunning visuals and thrilling battles for glory. Who will take the spotlight in the Bahrain Grand Prix today? We go racing today around the 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit, with 15 corners and 2 good passing opportunities into turns 1 and 4. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left tyre into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Oscar Piastri completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Russell, Ocon, Sainz, Stroll, and Yuki Tsunoda, Antonelli, Hülkenberg, Isaac Hadjar, and Gasly, Aaron, Albon, Ollie Behrman, and Golden Boy. Jackson, Colapinto, Bortoletto, and Jack Doohan rounds off the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway.
We're on a two-stop strategy here today, or tonight. We're going to be starting on the softs, and we'll be going to the mediums, potentially ending on a soft as well, and we'll see how this goes. But I mean, just frustration all around because we know the race pace it should be decent. I mean, Australia, it was great, and Suzuka, we had all right race pace. We really benefited from the struggles of others. You see a lot of different strategy here. Myself on the softs, many others as well, but some going for hard, some going for mediums, including my teammate of Jackson as well as Pierre Gasly there in the Alpine. But yeah, I mean, I just don't understand what has happened with the regulation change over the offseason that just suddenly keeps us qualifying so bad as a team. Like, it's weird. Now, I would be even more concerned if my teammate of Aiden Jackson was out qualifying me, but no, he's not doing any better than I am. So clearly, it's not a me problem. It's a Connor Sport car problem, and I really have no clue what we need to do to fix it. So it's confusing. It's something I haven't really had to figure out before in an F1 game, so it's really strange. But nonetheless, I mean, you got to move on and you got to jump to the grid here, and we're about to go 5 red lights and racing, and we just have to focus on the task at hand, and that is going forward and getting this Connor Sport into the points for the 4th consecutive race to start the first 4 races of the season. Here we go. 5 red lights. We're racing here from Bahrain under the lights for the first time this season. Now as we make this long run into turn number 1, there's the V-carb forward of Paul Aaron. We're going to dive up the inside of him as well as Gasly. 3 wide into turn 1. The McLarens of Piastri and Norris have gotten away 1-2. The Ferraris up there battling for 3rd and 4th as well. As for myself, we settle into P17 as there's the 2 Ferraris scrapping it out. Piastri leads over Lando Norris here after just a few corners. Then look at the Ferraris going at it right in front of Max Verstappen as well. Verstappen really got boned by the horribly timed safety car last episode in Suzuka and did not get a finish that really represented where he was after he qualified, of course, on pole for the Japanese Grand Prix. Yuki Tsunoda was so close to finally winning his first Grand Prix, and it would have been at home as well until Lando Norris stole it in the final couple of laps of that race. As for myself, I'm fighting right here with Paul Aaron. We'll tuck in behind his rear wing on that gearbox now as we continue on in P17. A little bit later on in this first and opening lap, we've got some battles happening up here in front of us. That's Hulkenberg going at it with Lance Stroll, and that's kind of stacked up everybody to my front wing, which could be an opportunity into turn number 1. DRS, of course, enabled on lap 2 of this Bahrain Grand Prix. Pierre Gasly going 3 wide into turn number 1. Aaron's going to go right in the middle. Weird choice, and I'm going to get right to the left side of him. Now, there's still 3 wide in front of us, but they're going to do the, of course, classic stupid EA thing of going 3 wide and ghosting, and at the end of the first lap, it looks so stupid, but it happens nonetheless as we continue to fight with Aaron, who's now up the inside of Hulkenberg here. Now, who's going to lift? It doesn't look like anybody. The Audi trying to fight back on the outside of the V-carb Ford. Now, of course, lots of new brands coming onto the grid this season as Audi slides. They continue to fight, but of course, Ford and Audi come over. Honda's back with Aston Martin. Rumors are that Toyota's looking to have more of a relationship next season with Haas, as they are currently a bit of a minor relationship now, as there's a bit of a lockup in front of Aaron right there. He's going to save it and keep it going on the racetrack now, and we're fighting here with Hulkenberg. It wouldn't be till the front straightaway, though, when we would have an opportunity to swing over to the right side of the racetrack. He actually pulls me back ahead, and then into turn number 1, we'll dive back up his inside here. He's on those hard tires, so we have to make work on him now because we know eventually these softs will fade, and he'll be much better on the hards. We leave him plenty of racing room, but we get the job done up into P16, and right off the bat, I can tell that we don't have that race pace that we've had in the first 3 races, where even if we qualified bad, we knew the race pace was there. This time we qualified bad, and I'm not so sure about the pace of this car when we actually hit this Grand Prix, as we've got Charles Leclerc, 1 win on the season, not going to make it 2 tonight. Mechanical failure for the Monegasque, and it's going to be race over for the Ferrari now, as, oh boy, we had some high expectations for Ferrari after the first 2 Grand Prix that were won by both of their drivers Leclerc and Hamilton, but now things already seem to be going in a different direction now. Hamilton missed, of course, getting into Q3, and Japan rebounded well. Leclerc spins out, fighting for the lead last episode. Now a mechanical failure as we find ourselves fighting for position. It's a McLaren 1-2 of Piastri, who is on a mission here tonight. He is already opening up a pretty large gap to his teammate of Lando Norris, as Norris is trying to hold off Hamilton. Verstappen trying to run down Hamilton as well, as we're now to the back of Pierre Gasly. We have got some good speed here now as we head down this front straightaway. We'll go 3 wide, split the Haas right there, the DHL Haas, that is, the yellow and black livery. We take it off into turn 1, a little bit too deep there into turn 1. Let's Pierre Gasly come back at me now as we leave the room for him to, of course, have a racing opportunity properly side by side. He's going to get back in front of me, so we drop back down to the 13th position. Now, one thing that's promising is as I'm very, very methodically getting through this grid, I'm watching my teammate of Aiden Jackson come with me as well. So we're both making fairly decent progress here early on in these first 5 laps of this Bahrain Grand Prix. Of course, a 2-stop strategy tonight, so we've got a lot of opportunities for things to really play out in this race as we come to lap 6 at this point, still tucked in behind Gasly, and I was having trouble at this point putting some more pressure on him. Maybe the softs are starting to kind of fall off a little bit here, so he's kind of able to control the pace, and out on the front straightaways I just wasn't close enough to get to him with the DRS at this point. So at this point I was just kind of waiting, hoping maybe he would slip up, or I can just put a really competitive lap together and then have a chance to get him. But right now it wasn't happening, and he's actually opening up the gap to me, so not exactly what I want here as Jackson would move up to 15th. How about Max Verstappen? He has run down Lewis Hamilton. He was over a second behind him earlier. Now to start lap 9, as you can see right there, Verstappen's going to go and put himself onto the podium now, so he'll take P3 as Lando Norris is not far up the road from these guys, just over a second in front of Max Verstappen. So Piastri is driving away. He's making a statement saying, yeah, I made myself look like a fool in Suzuka. I'm going to bounce back and put everybody into the ground here tonight, and that's what he's doing. As you can see on the track map, look at the lead just visually that he has put on the rest of the field. He is absolutely stomping everybody here tonight in Bahrain. This is what I like to see from Oscar Piastri now as we come to lap 10, and we have actually reeled in again Gasly, so there's an increasing chance that we'll have a chance to pass him as we take a warning there for exceeding track limits for the first time here tonight under the lights in Bahrain. Now as we're closing in on our pit stops as well, expect to see Verstappen maybe coming in soon. Piastri, he can really pit whenever he wants now, as Lando Norris has already made his pit stop as well, and sure enough, here comes Piastri. Another set of softs for him, so he's going to start on softs, switch to softs as well. We'll be coming in right here at the end of lap number 10. So Piastri is going to still be out in front. We're going to come in here, follow actually Gasly in. We could never really do anything with him. Once those softs faded, I just didn't have anything. Now, fortunately, we were able to at least maintain in the DRS of Pierre Gasly. So hopefully when we get some fresh tires on here, we will, in the coming laps, have an opportunity to actually overtake him. So we come in, nonetheless, get these softs off. We'll put on the mediums, and then our final pit stop, we're going to go back to the softs. Now, if we wanted to one stop, we could maybe have started on mediums, gone to hards, but none of the strategies really showcase that, and I really like to put more faith in the race engineer for the strategy than myself, so I kind of roll with what the game gives me a lot. But sometimes, like tonight, we did make some minor tweaks, so there's always that option as well. As now we're just waiting for this pit cycle to run its course, and we should be about P12 or so, I think, when this all is said and done, maybe 13th now, as we're to the back of Lance Stroll, who's come out just in front of us. Jackson's behind us, Colapinto. He's very slowly making progress through the field. He had a horrific qualifying effort after a really solid first 3 races to his Formula One full-time career now, that is, as we head down, or his first full season, I should say, of Formula One now, as we continue up into, sure enough, 13th position. That's where we end up cycling through. So now the running positions, Hamilton's continued to fade, so Norris has actually given up second. Max Verstappen has moved through into the second position, and now Hamilton's trying to run down Lando Norris. So Norris really just struggling for pace, while Piastri, of course, is just long gone. He continues to drive further and further away as we come through to the halfway point in this second run. Kind of on an island of my own at this point. Everybody around me is on the softs, so of course we're waiting for their tires to fall off, and then my mediums to, of course, kick in and have that longevity. So it's just kind of a waiting game here on the second run of the night. But clearly, the speed speed isn't where it was in Suzuka or Australia as well, China. So it's just, yeah, the pace isn't quite where it needs to be this weekend. And I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, you can't really change it now. So we just have to hope. We got to get our heads back to the drawing board and hope that we go into Saudi Arabia for the Jeddah Corniche circuit and hope that we can rebound there. And that one, of course, is a very high-speed circuit, and we do have the benefit of having a great engine as we have some yellows in front. It's right here in front of us, actually. Who is that? It's one of the V-Carbs, Isaac Hadjar, having a great run in the V-Carb Ford. And it's going to be night over. Engine failure, lots of smoke out of the back of his car, and that moves us up to P12, and that brought us right to the back of Gasly and Stroll, and all of a sudden a unique opportunity to not only go after Gasly, but to go after Stroll for a points-paying position as we use the DRS down this front straightaway. Stroll is a sitting duck, Gasly to the right. I'm going to actually follow Pierre Gasly here in the turn number 1. Stroll's going to fight back on the outside of Gasly here. The Frenchman going to have to defend over the Canadian now as they continue wheel to wheel. Who's going to come out on top of this battle now? I want to get in on this one now. Stroll with the DRS powers back through on Gasly. I dive up the inside of the Frenchman here into the right-hander, and we're not quite clear yet, leaving the space for him, and we just about get it done. He backs out, so thank you very much, Gasly. That moves us into P11. Now to lap 18 and right on the back of Lance Stroll as well, and he's on those softs, so we know they've got to be wearing out pretty heavily by now, and it should be a good opportunity for myself to be able to overtake the Aston Martin here, hopefully within the next lap or two. But he was doing a good job of just kind of maintaining himself in front of me. And look at the leaderboard. Aiden Jackson's up here in the conversation now. He's actually passed Pierre Gasly and run us down, so Jackson's really putting on some good speed, but he would actually pit now on lap 19. I forgot to mention he did pit, so as well as did Stroll, or sorry, not Stroll, Gasly. Lando Norris has already made his second and final pit stop, so he's pitting a bit earlier than everybody. Oscar Piastri as well has already made his second and final pit stop. He's way up the road. Max Verstappen, Hamilton, they're going to be coming in here momentarily as well, but they're still on the racetrack now as here comes Stroll. We're going to be pitting very, very soon. Lando Norris a few seconds back. We're probably going to pit right here, lap 21 at the conclusion. My pit window did open on lap 20, but I didn't want to take another set of softs that many laps. I was just like one extra lap I think I was going to be comfortable with. So Verstappen, Hamilton, they're now into the pits. How about Kimi Antonelli having a top 10 run here tonight in Bahrain? Great showcase for him. Norris goes by. Yuki Tsunoda goes by, having a pretty solid last couple of races as well ever since his disaster in the Chinese Grand Prix. We come in now. We're going to get these mediums off. We'll get the softs on for hopefully a solid 2.0 second pit stop now. Softs onto the Connor Sport now. We get back underway and back onto the racetrack here. Now is a 2.4 second stop. We're going to come up behind Lance Stroll in front of Franco Colapinto, my teammate of Aiden Jackson's 4 cars up the road because he pitted a few laps earlier. So they are, however, going to be having to defend over me, who's on fresher tires over these last 8 or so laps. As you can see, Piastri, who come to lap 23, has a huge gap, 12 seconds on Max Verstappen, who's in second, who's outpaced Lando Norris here tonight. He's got a comfortable gap over Lando Norris, and Norris is not safe. Hamilton is closing in on him. Hamilton has fresher tires. You see Norris go by right there on the mediums, and then if we take a look at Lewis Hamilton, of course, he's not on mediums, he's on soft. So not only is his tires fresher, he's also got a softer compound here. As you can see, Yuki Tsunoda under pressure on the hards from George Russell on the softs. This shouldn't really be much of a fight. Mercedes actually got both of their cars in the points for the first time in quite some time here. Now some serious gains tonight for Mercedes. Of course, they kind of fell off the map halfway through last season. Tsunoda's fighting back up the inside of George Russell. He is not giving this one up easy, but that soft tire is able to outgrip the hards, and Russell into the top 5 here now as both the Williams, Sainz, and Albon 7th and 8th over Antonelli in 9th. My teammate of Aiden Jackson in P10, and I'd look to dethrone him for the 10th position here before this race comes to a conclusion now on lap 23 for myself, and we are reeling in these guys in front of us of Gasly and Stroll, and we're going to have to get through them both before we can go after my teammate of Aiden Jackson now as Verstappen sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. No longer relevant, of course, as you do not get a point for that, unfortunately. I still think they should not have gotten rid of that. As you can see now, how about this? Hamilton is going going to pass Lando Norris. He has run him down. He has passed him. Norris drops off the podium. We thought Norris was really flexing some muscle last episode in Suzuka, and we come into Bahrain and he's dropped down to the 4th position. So as we have run down Pierre Gasly, we bring the fight to him. Jackson's under pressure right now from Stroll. Jackson's lost out, so he's down to P11. Look at the slide right there from Gasly. Saves it. We continue racing hard. Not the first time tonight we've raced hard against that Alpine, but we get the job done this time. Our fresher tires by just a lap or two is going to pay dividends here as we come into the final 5 laps. Up into P12. Unfortunately, Stroll, who's gotten past Jackson's, probably going to be able to run away before I can deal with my teammate. So points may be unlikely here in these closing laps unless we can get past Jackson pretty quick, but first we have to run him down. We haven't done that yet, and we're coming to lap 26. It'll be 4 laps to go, and it's all Piastri over Verstappen. Hamilton continues to open up the gap to Lando Norris, and it looks like, again, we're about to have 3 different teams on the podium. We are seriously having an exciting season here. Now, honestly, if we can get the Connor Sport to just fire off in qualifying a bit better, maybe just another couple of upgrades, and I think we can find ourselves in that conversation as well. We know Mercedes aren't far off as well as I mean, you as well have to look at Red Bull, and just so many options here that could spice things up, as now we have gotten to the back of our teammate into the left side into turn number 1. Leave plenty of room there for Jackson to operate, but we clear him pretty easily. As hold on, he's gonna fight back. He's got no DRS, but look at the speed. He's gonna fight back at me now. It's actually, he did have DRS, I believe, right there from Lance Stroll, but he backs out again. So we maintain P11, but I think that's pretty well all it wrote for us here tonight. Now we've got just over 2 laps to go to try and get into the DRS range of Lance Stroll, who's trying to run down Kimi Antonelli in that 9th position. A very strong run for Antonelli here in his sophomore season. Now as Jackson's actually fading into the grips of Franco Colapinto at this point now, who was able to get past Pierre Gasly as we come to the final lap of this race, actually, and I just didn't have enough for Stroll, who was actually able to get past Antonelli. So now we're trying to run down Antonelli, but there's just simply not enough time, and it looks like we're gonna have to settle for P11 and P12 here tonight. We just didn't have the pace, but I tell you who did. This guy, Oscar Piastri, whose gap cut from 12 seconds to 7 seconds, but he still nonetheless wins his first race of the season. What a bounce back after last episode's disaster. Verstappen and Hamilton complete the podium as we round the final turn, and we will have to settle for an 11th place effort, our first non-points finish of the season. To the line, a rough weekend overall, and yeah, just didn't have the pace in the car from start to finish, and we've clearly still got some work to do. And yeah, it's going to take some serious work to get this Connor Sport where it needs to be, and yeah, I'm hopeful that we can do it, and do it quick as well, as you're going to get to see Oscar Piastri and the McLaren team celebrate on with him here now as he wins his first race of the season. Of course, won a couple of races last season after a disastrous first half of the season, took him out of championship contention early. He's keeping himself in championship contention right now, though, here in season 2, and it always helps when Lando Norris just has a really mid-race here. Just things didn't quite go his way, and it wasn't because things necessarily went against him. He just didn't have the pace. Hamilton in 3rd, Verstappen in 2nd. This has been a very fun season. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually having a lot of fun playing F125 right now. George Russell in 5th over Tsunoda. The pair of Williams looking strong, and as well Antonelli rounding out the top 10. Colapinto rebounded to 13th as well, and all the way towards the bottom, Hadjar and Leclerc with the retirements. Let's take a look at the standings. Norris still leads by 10 points over Verstappen. Hamilton, Leclerc, they're within 20 points. Of course, Piastri is getting himself back into the conversation, 30 points back, 40 for Tsunoda, but Piastri with that, of course, crash out in Suzuka, it really hurt his standings, but he is doing a really good job to recover. 2 points in front of Ferrari is McLaren. Those two teams at the top early on in the season, as we find ourselves in 5th, just in front of Mercedes. I'll see you guys in the next one for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Jeddah. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.